Yeah, Mr. Jones, he's been a very strange man this year.
Well, no, he's doing that because last year he realized that his AP US kids that were in contemporary studies did the same exact thing, if not something harder than usual. Last year he did not take AP US. So when we were all talking to him, we were like, Mr. Dunn, we've done these projects already. How are we supposed to do things differently? So he made a group specifically of all people that were in his AP US class that were last year in his contemporary studies class that did an additional part to the project because we complained and said that we'd already done it before.
Okay, so chemistry. Here we are. So we went over the 5 basic chemical reactions, introduced them. So in this, we'll start go through them one by one, talking about them. Excuse me, sorry. Talking about one by one. So we're going to start going down the list. So first thing we got is synthesis. Now before we start on this, I highly recommend you taking notes. Just tossing that out there. Highly recommend you take them, ask questions as we go along if you have them. So, key to this is I'm going to use your nomenclature and everything you've learned from your nomenclature. You're going to bounce off a bit. So, for example, if I looked at you and I gave you an example, let's say we're combining some metals with oxygen. So, the oxidation state or the charge of oxygen is normally what? So, the charge of oxygen is normally what?
-2.
-2.
Haley Bailey, go to 1067.
So, -2. So, you're going to use that information for different things that you have. So, if I looked at you and I asked you a question, in a synthesis reaction between magnesium and oxygen, what are the products? Now, the key to this is there products or product? Product. Because there's one thing, it's synthesis, they're combining together. So, we'll have magnesium, which is Mg, plus oxygen. What is oxygen?
O2.
O2, why is it O2?
I forgot what the 7, what's the word?
Diatoms. 7 diatoms. Nice. So, what's the charge on magnesium?
I can't see it. It's like, is it 2? I don't remember where it's at.
+2. It's +2, since in the second column. What's the charge on the oxygen? -2, so it's a 1-to-1 ratio, so they'll combine 1 magnesium for 1 oxygen. What's the name of that? Magnesium oxide. You're on a roll.
I saw
Maybe I shouldn't wear glasses.
I saw MGO and it made me think of the song Bingo. Bingo hat.
Okay.
I think his name or whatever.
So, it stays combined in 1-to-1 ratio. Now, this is not balanced. Okay, I'll go on and tell you that. I'm not so caught up on the balancing right now. I want to get those reactions out there, give you time to study these reactions, because the balancing, it'll come. And once we start working on the balancing, then you can work on that and be studying the reactions for your quiz. All right?
What day are we taking our final?
Huh?
Like, I know our finals are 20th to 23rd. Right?
Just for you, Jan. I'm going to let you take it tomorrow.
I was just
I
asking.
thought we weren't doing
We
it.
weren't.
Just for you. Let's do it tomorrow.
Okay. I'm gonna fail either way. I will fail early.
Sarah, so that you know you are correct, but I've answered that question 15,000 times to the point I'm tired of answering it. So when somebody asks me about it, I'm going to look and say, you're taking it tomorrow.
I'm
I
sorry.
didn't
I won't
know
be
that
here on the
you-
20th. That's why I asked. Well, I'm pretty sure it's the 20th. It might be 21st.
I didn't even know that we weren't.
Yeah, I've said it like 1,001 times. I'm not gonna give a true final in this class because I'm not gonna roll off some huge quiz.
I wasn't here.
I've said it multiple times.
Maybe you should
I'm
write
not.
on the board.
I'm not writing it on the board. I've said it 15,000 times. Like, this is where you should listen.
Was it just the seniors that you were talking to, or did you, like, is it like a bunch of people?
I haven't been here for the last 5
A
days.
bunch of people have asked. Yeah.
See, Jenny has an excuse. She has not been here tonight.
I haven't been here for the last 5 days. I
Okay.
didn't come Thursday through yesterday.
Before those days, I've said it.
Hopefully.
I thought you were here yesterday. We were talking about
Was
Indian.
I? Yeah, I wasn't here the day before that, so I wasn't here Wednesday through the
Okay,
day
I'm
before yesterday.
past that. I'm pointing at that.
Can you please give us worksheets to boost our grade?
I will.
Yeah. I need to bring it up to at least a B. At least a B.
I will give you worksheets. Do not worry. Okay? Yet again, back to the final. You're not getting the final because there's people in the room that wouldn't have to take the final. There's people in the room that would have to take the final. In my opinion, everybody should have to take the final. And we should give you a true cumulative final. That's what you get in college. It's my opinion. But
You should be a principal. I can see you being a principal. I could. I swear I could.
very nice.
Like, people look at us and be like, oh, so you want to be hall, huh? And you write on a note, and it'd be all like, huh, just kidding. Like, here, go away. And then actually give them hall. Like that.
Okay, anyway. So, I gave you this one the other day, and I looked at you and I told you hydrogen combines with oxygen to produce
Danielle Henshaw, Brandon F. Lester, report to class.
water. Now, why is it H2O? Why are we jumping for that H2O? What's the charge on the oxygen? -2. What's the charge on the hydrogen? +1. So I need 2 of those +1s to equal out to that -2. Questions? Anybody confused yet? Okay, then you're really going to have to rely off your skills and things that you've learned. Because if I looked at you and I told you that we had iron 2 combining with oxygen, what is the product? I want the chemical name.
Is it iron? Iron monoxide or something?
Iron 2 combining with oxygen. What do you got?
That is a very good question.
I'm going to apply something Dr. Cusick taught me.
No, the stock
Leon
system
talks
doesn't.
about
We're not dealing with the stock system.
Let the pressure build. We ain't moving past this till you answer it correctly.
It's not iron oxide. It's
Gosh.
not iron monoxide.
Gosh, if we don't answer it, we'll learn for the rest of the year.
We don't apply the stock system at all, do we? That's in the past, right?
Once you learn it, don't forget it, Dylan.
I don't. What? How about any music?
Guys, I just told you the answer to our problem. If you don't answer it.
I will still quiz you.
I can't see. It's not iron oxide.
Iron dioxide. I don't know.
So iron 2 combines with oxygen to make what?
Cancel each other. What is iron? Well, that's in the D block of the county.
You have to decide when you're putting on extra credit from Christmas.
At the end.
Okay.
I think that's what I did. I split them.
We already had this conversation, I know. Back to the board with iron 2 and oxygen.
I put my 2 inches. I can't see.
I have a guess, but I'm going wrong. So
Everybody else has guessed.
I was thinking like iron 2 oxide.
Iron 2 oxide.
So this.
Now give me the chemical equation for iron 2, with chemical formula for iron 2 oxide.
That is also a very big
Is
question.
it FeO2?
The chemical equation, is that what we do? We like separate them? You know, and then O, and then you gotta take it from each side.
If you're not feeling pressure right now, if you're not feeling any stress, then that is terribly sad because you have 2 quizzes coming up in this class, which will be the hardest quizzes you've ever took in your life.
I think God's calling my name.
So, wait, what did Sarah say? What did Sarah say?
Iron 2 oxide. Oh.
Okay, hold
My
on.
notes real quick.
FeO.
Oh, yeah, don't. You mean.
You want to be a
Thank you. I got the name, then I asked for the chemical formula.
Oh, the formula.
Oh my.
Very nice. Now,
Theo.
just because it would do y'all some good, apparently. Yeah. What if I told you iron 3
Whoa.
and oxygen?
Too far. Too far, Mr. Hall.
Iron 2 what?
Do you want the.
Give me the name
It's the
first.
same thing. I'm so confused.
It is the same thing. I thought you said.
looks like
I thought you said iron 3.
Exactly.
It is
Iron 3 and oxygen.
It's not iron.
It's the same like symbols, but it's
There's different terms.
Would it. No, I'm done.
It's not iron 2 or whatever. I don't know.
iron
Is there an
3
iron
oxide.
So iron 3 oxide. Now give me the chemical formula.
Go Sarah. FeO.
I was thinking like FeO2. Or
FeO2.
FeO3.
No, it's Fe2O.
That's what I said. Fe2.
Fe2O3.
That's what
Are you right?
My question, do you
Derek?
really know that or you remember that from earlier?
I knew it, Mr. Hall.
Wait, did we do it earlier?
No, he's in the other class. He comes in
It comes in during driver's ed.
Oh.
And if it comes water.
So, iron 3 oxide, which would be Fe2O3. Now, my question to you, ladies and gentlemen,
Wow.
charge on the iron.
Okay. But I was just wondering, like, why is it 2?
Charge on the iron,
6?
it's 3 plus, charge on the oxygen, -2, cross it.
Okay.
What did we do the other day when we like separated both? I don't
Onion.
remember what we did. I don't know.
Are you ready?
Alright, question to you all for everybody who like, wants to slam me over this video that I posted. Is this balanced?
You got slammed for a video?
No, they're not balanced. They would, like, somebody that wants to be a troll would watch this and be like, you didn't balance them, so they're wrong.
Oh.
It's like, I'm not worried about you balancing them right now. You'll learn to balance later. I want you to learn how these things are combining. You are really struggling going from here to here. And y'all really struggled whenever I'm literally when to use the stock system, transition metals. If I look at using transition metal and I tell you iron 2, iron 3, what am I telling you? The charge on that transition metal. That information is there. You're going to have to use it. All right? Questions?
Is there something in here? I'm definitely gonna look like in where to grab it. So I can't stop itching.
There's a bunch of people in here.
Like, I've been itching my leg and my arm for like the whole class period.
Wearing a different perfume, different deodorant. So I around you wearing perfume.
I don't know. It's killing me. I'm literally dying. That's because I've been itching like this whole class period. It's killing me. And my foot's been killing me too. Because it itches even more.
red dots all over you?
I have no idea. I do on my foot. Like all over.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Let's see.
It's on my foot. It's on my
No, it's on me too.
She got them on her
I'm
legs.
dying.
I got them all over my legs and all over my arms.
Try
They're,
the
like,
last
itching.
class together.
Yeah. Yeah, you're both together.
No, but like mine started yesterday and I took a Benadryl and it hasn't went away.
Mine started like last class period.
Like
It's
I
killing
walked
me.
my Sunday school teacher, she's like really sick.
Like,
And I walked into her house like
I
something
don't
and
know
it's
why.
sore.
Like I'm itching bad. Like it's all over my arms. And my
You got
arms.
look at my leg. You got little red dots all over you?
Yeah. Like I'll actually
Like
on
that?
my leg. Yeah. Going up.
Yeah. That's what mine does.
Did you give me something? 'Cause
I
I
don't
called
know.
Leslie. I would be so mad.
My mom had them last night too when we walked out of my Sunday school teacher's class.
I'm dying.
Or at her house.
I need a Benadryl or something. Like I'm actually dying.
She's
You can go see the nurses here.
she's got cancer.
She's gonna do like Mondays and Thursdays.
Well, I'm gonna go see if she's
I just
dying.
thought that I was like,
All right, so
can I like go because I don't wanna.
yeah,
Huh?
True friends.
you can go.
Chickenpox do.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So along with this, these are just like these are metals with oxygen. And what do they make? Metal oxides. Okay?
What is it?
So now, take a look at, and whenever we're talking, let's just do it. All right, let's look at doing metals synthesis. Well, I better do a different color. Do synthesis of metal. Oh man. Go back. With halogens.
Is that combustion?
What are the halogens?
The gases? No, that's not the gases. Never mind. Just the natural gas.
What are the halogens?
It's one of the, is it called 60?
Column 17, thank you. So, synthesis of metals with halogens. So these are pretty much the first two columns, generally what we're going to be looking at. First two columns are acting with halogens. So in this case, if I looked at you and I told you we had sodium with chlorine. It's Cl2. Why is it Cl2? Diatom reacts to make what? In a synthesis reaction. Sodium chloride, which is NaCl. It's your table salt. Do it again. What if we did something with, let's do calcium and fluoride? What does it make? Calcium fluoride, which is what?
Two.
Why did I get CAF2?
Plus.
Calcium is positive 2 charge. What's the charge on the fluorine? -1. Do you need another periodic table?
Yes. I'm trying. Thank you.
It's like I'm literally just watching. He's like,
Sorry.
Just out of curiosity, try these on. Because I want to see how bad your eyes are. If they're as bad as mine, I don't even know why you're squinting at that.
I can kind of see out of them.
I know that's mercury, is the big block up there with the blue
Well-
letters. I can't tell it.
I'm nearsighted. Are you nearsighted or far?
Nearsighted.
Last time I went, I don't know if you do your eyes like this, but this one's like 120, this one's like 1.
I can't remember what mine was. It's bad.
Some people do it, and they go like 3.5 and 3. I don't know why.
Mine's like a 3.4.
Yeah, some people do that.
I don't know how you do that.
You would, I'm guessing it might be low, you know, like 2020, would be like 1. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you do.
I think this one's low. What did you say?
This one, they want them over.
I think this is
That's
30.
old one.
This one's 75, this one's 30.
I used to be, in my left eye, I used to be negative 1.25. In my right eye, I used to be negative 1.50. But that's my old prescription.
Like,
Anyway,
I can see it.
so any questions on these? Since it's these melogens and halogens, they actually form salts. If you're curious on that. Questions? There's no questions. Going once. Twice. So everybody feels comfortable. Okay. Let's go to the good stuff.
Did we do like combustion or anything?
That's the last of the 5. All right, so this is the one I feel like everybody is going to have trouble with. Let's do it in red. Synthesis reactions of, let's put this back up here. Metal oxides What are metal oxides? First thing we cover. Metals bonded with oxygen. So like magnesium oxide, calcium oxide, sodium oxide. The list can go on and on. But metal oxides combine with water to form metal hydroxides. For those of you that are curious, this is how we get our bases. So the general formula for this goes like this. You take the metal, bonded with oxygen, and it combines with water, and it will form your metal bonded to hydroxide, which is OH. Now, when we're saying metal, you're practically looking, typically when we're dealing with these, you're practically looking at the metals coming, the alkali metals, the alkali earth metals, column 1 and column 2 off your periodic table. That's where you're looking for this to take place and for them to really react to produce something for you. This is your general equation. Now with this, are there changes that happens to this? Yes. It depends. Is your metal from the first column or second column? If it's from the first column, then it'll have a 2 here, bonded with the oxygen. And then it will have a 1. It won't have anything right here. They're being understood 1 to be there. But if it's from column 2, you'll have nothing here but they understood to be a 1. But then over here you'll have the hydroxide in parentheses with the 2 outside of it. So let's work a couple. Okay, let's see. Let's do green. Green means good. So let's say you have calcium oxide and you put that in water. It's a synthesis reaction. What do you make? Give us a shot. What'd you guys get? I love how I turn around and people down their head. It's like, if I don't make eye contact with him, it's like I'm not here. If it makes you feel any better if you have a wrong answer right now, that's okay. This is when we expect the wrong answers.
Would it be
Calcium hydroxide, yes.
CaH2? There should be a charge.
It's not CaH2O. When I asked that question, somebody made the same mistake in the second period.
Is it CA parentheses OH? Because you said something about it and I just went for it.
So you're saying
No, the other parentheses.
in parentheses?
Yeah.
That is correct. Ca parentheses OH in parentheses 2. Why do we have a 2? Why is there parentheses? Why is there a 2 there?
That's a very good
Because
question.
they're two diatomic.
It's not because it's a diatomic. What is this? Hydroxide. What is hydroxide? It's a polyatomic. What are polyatomic ions?
That's a very good question.
They're groups of covalently bonded elements that act and have characteristics of ionic bonds. They carry an overall charge. So in this case, this hydroxide, this OH.
This bag is in the hallway.
Well, why'd you bring it in
I
here?
figured someone lost it, so I was going to tell you.
Well, take it to the office.
I just got back from there.
I don't want it.
I'll take it up there whenever I leave. We leave in like 2 minutes anyway.
You leave in like 11 minutes. You're like the worst timekeeper ever.
It's like 10 minutes.
1 minute on.
Oh, I thought you said 2 minutes.
Let me borrow this.
All right, so they carry an overall charge. That overall charge is for that whole polyatomic. If you need multiple of those charges, you have to have multiple polyatomics. On the quizzes, a lot of people wanted to do stuff like this. or they wanted to do this. This is wrong. This is saying 2 hydrogens. That says 2 hydroxides. You gotta have the parentheses. You gotta have the 2 there. All right. And nobody said there's nothing. Okay. Well, let's just make it real. A synthesis reaction takes place between sodium oxide and water. What is the product and write a proper chemical equation show this.
So is this not the questions we're gonna ask?
Yep. So a synthesis reaction takes place between sodium oxide and water. What is the products, and write a proper chemical equation to show this? We'll try something new with this too. So who thinks they know what they're doing? Who thinks they have an idea of what they're doing? Okay, you're up.
No.
board.
No. I'm the last
To the
person
board.
that should get up
To the
here.
board.
I still
To
haven't
the board.
taken the second
To the
quiz.
board.
I'll do it.
You owe me that. To the
I
board.
know.
This is your punishment for not taking it to the board.
Yeah, you go. I'm not
To the board.
volunteering anymore.
I did not volunteer as tribute.
It doesn't matter about who volunteered to distribute. You've been chosen.
Yeah, I took my volunteering back. I don't want the hours.
I don't know what I'm doing.
You're up.
Maybe.
I don't even know, like.
Go to the board. Stop crying.
There, John. You got this, no?
Not mark on the pink, but mark below it.
I don't know.
I'll help you start it out. Up or out?
Great question.
I use the same. I just put the same format as the last one.
So you got it. Okay, we're gonna start with. Start with sodium oxide.
Which is NaO2. Right. Another one.
You got a whole class full of people.
Morgan, hit your head a little bit.
I'll put NaO2. Is that wrong?
So everybody here think he's got NaO2 for sodium oxide.
Oh,
Is that
NaO.
it?
That would be right.
Is that it? That's what I wrote on my paper.
You're close.
but I don't know what would be.
What are we missing? What's wrong up there? What has she got wrong?
The parentheses?
Do I need parentheses? Do I need multiple dihydroxides?
There's not a charge on.
She right?
I'm gonna assume so, because the way you looked at it, you said, install, wait, when you said,
So is it?
She's right. Mo.
good job, Mo.
Set the black marker down. Take the till. Choose somebody.
Don't you dare.
Oh,
Don't
you're
you?
blind. I'm not choosing you.
Well, I'm near.
All right, so while you're choosing them, you can step to the side. Sodium oxide. What's the key to this? Sodium. Where's sodium at? First column. What's the charge on sodium?
Plus one.
Plus 1. What's the charge on the oxygen?
Negative
-2. So, cross them. 2 comes down here for sodium, 1 for the oxygen. So you get Na2O plus water, which is H2O. So you get sodium. Okay, this is where you have to notice this. You have a metal oxide reacting with water. This is where you have to start learning your rules. Metal oxides react with water to give me the metal bonded with hydroxide. So what's the metal? Sodium. Hydroxide. What's the charge on sodium? I'm about to go away from Dr. Cusick. I'm about to go Dr. Silver on y'all.
Dr. Silver.
Dr. Silver quizzed us every day.
Don't do that.
You did not walk out of her class without a quiz. Only day you walked out of her class without a quiz is on test day.
Sounds god awful.
What's the metal? Sodium. What's the charge of sodium? Plus 1. What's the charge on hydroxide?
Did her voice crack like that?
No, she wasn't sick. -1. 1 to 1. It's a 1-to-1 ratio, so you just need 1 of each. Got it? Let's have some fun.
Really not.
I'm going to write you something different.
Oh, God.
Alright, here's the new problem. A synthesis reaction takes place between lithium oxide and water. What is the product? And write a proper chemical equation to show this. Whenever you feel you're ready, you may come up.
I've lost it. It's numbered like.
I'm confused.
Okay.
Come to the board, we will help you. Come to the board, we will help you.
Can you not come over here and just help me?
Go to the board. Go to the board. I can't get y'all to talk. I'm going to pull it out of you.
I'm still not gonna talk.
Go to the board. Go to the board or quiz.
Oh, Lord. Y'all love y'all. I would check the quick.
Okay. So what we starting with? What's the first thing you need to do?
Put lithium oxide.
Alright, so we're going to figure out, we're going to write lithium oxide down. So let's start with that. What's the chemical symbol for lithium? Li. What's the charge on lithium?
1.
Positive 1.
Sorry.
1. No, you're fine. So Li, and I would put a plus charge. And then I'm going to look at this oxide. So, where's oxide come from? Oxygen. So what's the chemical symbol for oxygen?
Or
O. What's the charge on the oxygen?
negative 2.
-2. So let's take those and cross it. So the 2 goes down with the lithium, and the 1 goes down with the oxygen. So what should we end up with?
Lithium to,
Li2.
or Li2.
Li2O. Right?
That's you can't see, so you don't can't.
Alright, so Li2O. Now let's move from there. Plus. Oh.
Thank God.
We'll wrap this up tomorrow.
Why would we go along with polysolid?
Just say, not too late for that.
I still need to take it to
And I'm still gonna